You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, Joplin Middle School students are learning what it's like to work as a police officer.
Also, the U.S. Navy is deploying ships in response to Russian and Cuban military drills.
And we've got ourselves another hot day across the 4 states, and maybe even some rain chances tonight. We'll look at that forecast, get you out the door, coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Elise Noe.
I'm Chris Warner. It is just after 7 a.m. on this Thursday morning.
Yes.
Thursday
kind of feels like a Friday.
13th. It does, but thankfully it's not, because it's
right.
the 13th, and we wouldn't want a Friday the 13th,
That'd
right?
be pretty spooky.
It would be. It's already spooky enough here sometimes. We don't need to add to all of that.
That is true.
That's
quite true, Chris.
Yeah. And some kids getting some really cool interactions.
Yes, the Joplin Police Department is holding its first ever Kids Academy this week at South Middle School.
KOAM's Anthony Saviello was there.
I enjoyed this. It's a lot of fun being able to work with the kids and show them some of our equipment and stuff that we have.
The SWAT division of the Joplin Police Department made a stop at South Middle School. The goal, to educate students about SWAT's role in law enforcement.
We're able to interact with kids where it's as a controlled environment and everything. It's not a bad situation that our SWAT team is potentially dealing with or anything.
But these kids still get a better understanding of the situations law enforcement finds themselves in and the people they deal with.
That they're not always bad, they can do good things, but most of the time they don't mean bad, just sometimes the people that they're trying to get, they just don't cooperate.
It's hands-on learning, with students being able to interact with the department's tools and equipment.
Between K-9 Division, Traffic Enforcement, our SWAT team, Investigations Division, so it's just nice for them to be able to see all the different things that the Joplin Police Department has to offer.
This interaction may even be the boost that creates future law enforcement officers.
Ever since I was little, I've always wanted to be one.
Reporting in Joplin, Anthony Saviello, KOAM News.
The Police Academy continues through the end of the week.
Kids will get to learn from different divisions within the department, and that's certainly exciting. You know, I don't think we had anything quite like that when I was a kid.
Me
and I
neither.
think that would have been interesting to get to
agree.
see that up close like that and interact in that fun, relaxing way.
Absolutely, that's important, especially because you aren't always entirely sure, especially at that age, what all goes into that profession.
Oh, yeah.
So it's great to learn, and yeah, absolutely.
You certainly do. And we've got ourselves another hot day across the area. We're going to start with a live look from our camera on top of the Cornell Complex in downtown Joplin. The sun is obviously rising. The skies are clear and temperatures are climbing right along with it. MoDOT camera 20th and Rangeline looking back to the south, clear skies and plentiful sunshine, and we're going to have plentiful heat. In fact, we do have these heat advisories. Coffee, Anderson, Linn counties in southeast Kansas through 8 o'clock tonight. Heat index values could easily reach 100 degrees there. And outside of that, we could see heat index values low mid-90s across the area. So it's going to start to get warm, and that humidity and dew point is going to start to climb as well. Heading into the afternoon, we are clear, we are hot. More of those low 90-degree readings out across parts of southeastern Kansas. By about 4, we start to see a few clouds rolling in, and then by 8, some isolated to widely scattered showers could start building into parts of southeastern Kansas ahead of some thunderstorm chances as we go overnight tonight. We're going to go into detail on those in the full forecast here a little later. Right now, temperatures upper 60s, low 70s, so already a very mild start to the day. And again, those highs, it is going to be toasty. Sunny skies, we're looking at upper 80s, low 90s across the area ahead of some isolated to scattered thunderstorm chances as we head overnight tonight. We're going to look at details on those rain chances and just how much hotter it's going to get in the full forecast here in a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, a nearly century-old structure in Neosho, Missouri is now in pieces. The city yesterday began the demolition of the water tower at Dewey and Finney Avenue. The tower was built in 1926 and decommissioned in 1984. The city added another larger tank next to it in 1956, and city officials now say the old tank is an eyesore and serves no purpose, prompting the demolition.
It's just it's about 110 years old, and it's just a concern for as a danger structure for the area.
Because I wanted to come see the water tower get taken down. I've never seen this happen.
The current remaining water tower, built in 1956, has a 400,000-gallon tank. Well, the Crawford County Historical Museum yesterday hosted another round of Wacky Wednesday. For the month of June, the museum is inviting kiddos out for some fun and educational demonstrations. Yesterday's event, called Little Museum on the Prairie, taught the kids how to make hand-dipped candles and apple juice. They also did some butter churning, corn swelling, and clothes washing, just like the pioneers.
We take what has really worked well in the past and that the parents have requested, oh, are you going to do Little Museum on the Prairie again this year? Or are you going to make homemade ice cream? So we try to build on what we've done in the past and make it a little bit better, a little bit bigger.
The museum has 2 more Wacky Wednesdays left this month, including Life on the Trail on the 19th and Baby Goats and Farmhouse Ice Cream on the 26th. Maybe the best part of Wacky Wednesdays, they're free. Well, echoes of the Cuban Missile Crisis 62 years ago. The U.S. is sending warships and aircraft to monitor a convoy of Russian vessels in the Caribbean Sea for military drills with Cuba. Fox News Chief National Security Correspondent Jennifer Griffin has more from the Pentagon.
The Pentagon began monitoring the 4 Russian warships as they crossed the Atlantic and conducted live-fire exercises intended to simulate an attack on enemy ships. Early Wednesday, Russian warships were seen entering the port of Havana. Echoes of the Cuban Missile Crisis in October 1962, when Soviet leader Nikita Khrushchev reached a secret deal with Fidel Castro to place Soviet nuclear missiles 90 miles from Key West, Florida.
That a series of offensive missile sites.
President Kennedy ordered a naval quarantine. It was the closest the 2 countries had ever come to nuclear war. On Tuesday, Russian warships sailed less than 30 miles off Florida's south coast. Ships from the U.S. Second Fleet, U.S. Fourth Fleet, and U.S. Coast Guard Atlantic area shadowed them. U.S. intelligence assesses there are no nuclear weapons on board these ships, but the Russian flotilla does include the Kazan nuclear-powered submarine. The Pentagon downplayed the provocative exercises in its backyard.
This is not a surprise. We've seen them do these type of port calls before. We, of course, take it seriously, but these exercises don't pose a threat to the United States.
In Moscow, Russia's foreign minister thanked his Cuban counterpart for taking Russia's side in Ukraine.
We are grateful to our Cuban friends for their principled position on the situation around Ukraine. From the very beginning, Havana assessed the ongoing events, outlining absolutely correct.
It's notable that Russia did not send its only aircraft carrier, the Admiral Kuznetsov, to Cuba. It's currently out of service. Also notable that Ukraine has sunk nearly half of Russia's Black Sea fleet in the past 2 years, including a prize submarine. At the Pentagon, Jennifer Griffin, Fox News.
And those are our top stories this half hour. Coming up next, it's getting hot out there, and that means more time outside in the water. We'll hear from some water safety tips from the Joplin Fire Department. And later, we hear why Americans are getting excited about the sport, cricket. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Well, summertime usually means time spent outdoors and around water. Dustin Luno of the Joplin Fire Department is with us this morning to share the importance of water safety. Welcome. Thank you so much for being with us. So can you talk to me about the main water safety concerns in our area?
You know, our area, we're very, very blessed. We have some of those beautiful waterways and country that is around. And it's warming up this week, right? It's going to be beautiful outside. And what better thing to do than go out and enjoy the natural beauty of the four-state area.
Yes.
And we want you to do that, and we want you to do that safely. So absolutely, we want you to go out, enjoy the outdoors, but do so in a responsible manner. And that looks a lot like knowing the local area, right? Knowing what's out there, using approved United States Coast Guard flotation devices, life jackets, things like that.
Yes.
You know, just because you might purchase something at a local store does not mean it's properly approved for a child or an adult or something. And we want you to be safe. Unfortunately, a large proportion of water-related accidents also have alcohol involved.
Right.
And we want you to have fun and enjoy responsibly, but do so in moderation. Be sure that you have somebody there. Be sure that you're doing things appropriately and doing them safely while you're out.
Absolutely. Moderation is a big key in that, because you never know how quickly something can get out of hand. And can you talk to me about the specific measures that the department takes to ensure water safety during the summertime?
In our area, we have a couple of different waterways that we do protect. And I believe you're showing some video currently of our Swift Water Response Team as they train at the output dam at Pomme Pater. Our team is a joint team with the Reddings Mill Fire Department, and this team is responsible for water rescues in our response area and mutual aid around the area. So we want to, our goal is that all we ever do is train and we don't have to respond, right?
Yes.
But unfortunately, annually we do end up out at Grand Falls. Grand Falls is a beautiful place. But water, as much as powerful it is actually very dangerous, especially at the falls. So be safe around the falls. Falls produce a specific condition called, it's a low head dam. It causes a churning effect. It actually holds people underwater. So we have to kind of avoid that and be safe around that.
Absolutely. And during those rescue missions, what's the most common occurrence that you see that can be easily prevented for the next time, just so people know when they're out there?
Yeah, unfortunately, the first one is just not knowing the area, not knowing exactly what you're dealing with. And the second one is alcohol-related incidents.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being with us this morning. When we come back, we'll have a full look at the forecast.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News 716 on this Thursday morning. And this is a look at our risk for strong storms tonight. We don't have any areas highlighted for a tornado threat, so that's good news. That leaves that very low. But we do have some areas highlighted for some hail and a low to elevated risk for some damaging wind gusts with storms tonight. So let's take a look at the future track. Now, most of today, in fact, just about all of today, we're going to be dry and we're going to be sunny and hot. And then take a look. This is what we're talking about. We're going to see a little more of those low 90s out into parts of southeast Kansas and into northeastern Oklahoma. By later this evening, we start to see a few clouds out there, and that's ahead of some showers after 8, and those could reach as far as Fort Scott, Pittsburgh, maybe Lamar by about 11 o'clock. And then our far northern counties, you see those thunderstorms. That's part of this complex that yesterday on the future track was just a hint further east, but nonetheless is still showing up and is going to roll through after midnight, and this is where our window for strong, potentially severe thunderstorms is going to be. And it'll try and push as far south as I-44, and you saw how quickly, though, it fizzled out as well as we head toward tomorrow morning. So we're going to see that opportunity. Not everybody will get rain, and as you saw, it kind of stops at I-44, so if you're south of that point, not looking at anything at this point. Future track still showing the possibility, you see those little green splotches pop up every so often, of some pop-up showers and thunderstorms by tomorrow after late afternoon, early evening. I think most of us will be dry, but a pop-up shower storm I think is also remotely possible. It won't be until Saturday morning at this point that we'll see some additional brief isolated showers and storms early Saturday, and then after that those will clear out and we'll be dry and partly cloudy and even hotter for our Saturday. UV index today, again, is at a 10. That's very high. Make sure you are taking the appropriate precautions to protect your skin because burn time for unprotected skin is under 10 minutes. We also have heat advisories for Anderson, Coffee, Linn counties in southeastern Kansas through 8 o'clock tonight. Heat index values up there could reach 100 degrees easily, and humidity and dew point levels climbing across the area. So therefore, we could see heat index values reaching into the mid-90s easily through today. So we do have that moderate heat risk potential for a good portion of the area. South of I-44, it's minor. And as we head into the weekend, you see that moderate starts to overspread the entire area by Saturday, and we're starting to see some of the major heat impacts. And by Sunday and Monday, that major encompassing a good portion of the area. So we're talking, even though the air temperatures by next week aren't going to be super hot, they're going to be in the low 90s, we're looking at heat index values by Sunday and Monday that could be upwards of 100 to 105 degrees. So you you need to make sure you're planning appropriately for that and that you're prepared for potentially dangerous heat as we head into the weekend and next week. 70 in Joplin right now, south breeze at 6, no clouds in the sky there. Around the area, temperatures warming up pretty quickly. We've got upper 60s still, but starting to see some low, even getting close to mid 70s. We go through the morning, sunny, low 80s by 11 o'clock this morning. So again, we're going to warm up rather quickly through the morning hours. Our highs today, upper 80s into the low 90s again. We're going to hold on to low to mid 90s for the foreseeable future, which means our overnight lows will also be mild into the low to mid 70s. Could see some late evening storms Sunday and Wednesday. Outside of that, we're just hot and dry. That's Check Your Forecast. We're back with more right after this. Well, when we say cricket, you probably think of the noisy insect, but it's also the second most popular sport in the world. Now the cricket craze has hit American soil, with Team USA not just playing in a major tournament here in the U.S., but they're undefeated coming into the day.
That's thanks to a major upset earlier in the tournament over Pakistan. Today's match, though, against the heavy favorite and also undefeated India. Michael George caught up with fans at the Nassau County International Cricket Stadium on New York's Long Island.
Fans flocked to the T20 World Cup cricket game between the U.S. and India, with an estimated 1.5 billion people watching around the world.
I'm here from Boston.
You came all the way from Boston for this?
Yep. This guy is a cricket fan. He was born here, but he's a Rohit Sharma fan, and he bunked his school to come here.
Skipping school or taking the day off from work, fans were not going to miss this matchup.
I'm originally from India. I'm also an American, so it's a win-win for me.
Indians were underdogs once upon a time. We supported them. Now US is underdog. I like to support them.
These underdogs brought their best game, but ultimately lost to India. A lot of U.S. team players are part-time. They have day jobs. Cricket reporter Smit Patel.
If you ask me to define them in one word, it will be like a motley crew. They came to the World Cup against all odds, and they've been exceptional.
This stadium is serving as a temporary home for the World Cup, but cricket is growing in popularity in the U.S., and many think it's here to stay.
Just to put things in perspective, I think the highest sold Super Bowl ticket, hospitality ticket, was around like $8,600. And the India-Pakistan game on Sunday was, I think it costed like $10,000.
According to USA Cricket, more than 400 leagues have opened in America, with over 200,000 players. Yeah! And young Americans are getting in on the game, too.
We're getting up the next generation of kids playing cricket.
Fans can enjoy the second season of Major League Cricket starting July 5th, and the sport will be featured at the 2028 Olympic Games in Los Angeles.
The U.S. has a chance to advance to the quarterfinal round with another match against Ireland on Friday. Certainly looks interesting.
Yeah, I know about cricket. I've never seen cricket, and it's interesting that it's picking up speed here in the U.S.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Gives you something new to do.
Absolutely. Well, coming up, a local soup kitchen is asking for help in order to serve an increasing number of clients.
And we've got another sunny and hot day across the area. Rain chances, though, for some of us. We'll take another look at that forecast, get you out the door coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOA Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:27. I'm Elise Snowy. A 5-year-old boy is dead following an accident involving a semi-tractor unit yesterday in a small Jasper County, Missouri community. Police say the truck was parked in a private driveway in the village of Reeds, and the driver was standing on the driver's side steps with the engine running. Authorities say the truck was put into gear and jolted forward, striking the 5-year-old boy from Lockwood, Missouri. The child died at the scene. At last report, authorities had not yet released the name of that boy. Authorities in Neosho County, Kansas, are investigating a fatal crash involving a bicycle Tuesday night. Troopers say a bicyclist on Santa Fe Avenue collided with the side and rear of a vehicle making a right turn. The bicyclist, 67-year-old Harvey Morris Love of Chanute, died at the scene. Well, Commerce Days got underway yesterday in Commerce, Oklahoma. Folks flocked to Commerce High School to enjoy some food, arts and crafts, vendors, and games. There is also a carnival until 10 and live music from the Full Throttle Band until 11.
It's a fun place, family friendly. Basically, if you want funnel cakes, any kind of carnival food, come here.
So far, actually, I think it's kind of fun. It's really kid friendly and really animal friendly, and I think it's probably one of the best places to bring, if you have kids or pets, bring them out here.
Commerce Days runs through Saturday. Well, the Pittsburgh Public Library brought out the Pirates yesterday for the Adventure Begins Summer Storytime Session. The session runs from June 3rd through July 24th. Tuesday and Wednesday story times are at 10 a.m. and will take place in the shade at the beautiful Lincoln Park. You can keep your eye out for the Pittsburgh Public Library Bookmobile. The event is always fun and special, but yesterday was maybe even more so because it featured pirates and puppets. Well, the Joplin Soup Kitchen is seeking donations to feed its growing number of clients. KOAM's Amber Jenkins has more.
Soup Kitchen volunteers at St. Peter's Outreach House start prepping meals at 8 a.m. to pass out hundreds of to-go meals by 11 a.m. However, as the demand grows, it's harder to keep their shelves stocked.
We are in desperate need of canned goods. We go through approximately 15 gallons of canned goods a day. So if there's anyone in the community or anybody wants to make a donation of canned goods to us, we'll take anything. Canned vegetables, canned fruit, canned beans.
The most demanding season for the kitchen is summertime.
We're averaging now a minimum of 400 a day. Today we're anticipating it could be as many as 500. And we're seeing, since the children are out of school, we're seeing a lot of children coming too. It'll go back down, we anticipate, in the fall. Maybe a third will go down, when people get back to, the kids go back to school, and a lot of our homeless population that are transient move on, because a lot of times they're filtering in here from somewhere else.
The kitchen does not have any requirements for those needing a meal.
But we'll feed anybody. There's no requirement. Anybody's welcome at our door. All we require is we have to keep track of numbers, and we take a name. That's it.
Reporting in Joplin, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
St. Peter's Outreach House is open Monday through Wednesday and Friday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Now let's check in with Chris for a look at the forecast.
We've got another sunny and hot day across the area. Live look from MoDOT camera 20th and Rangeline in Joplin. Looking back to the south, got a light breeze out there. We've got clear skies, plentiful sunshine, temperatures already warming up across the area. We do have heat advisories for Lynn, Anderson, and Coffee counties in southeast Kansas through 8 o'clock tonight, where we could see those heat index values reaching 100 degrees. Heat index values for the rest of us could be low to mid 90s out there, so we're going to continue to heat up. Through the majority of the day, we are clear. Later this evening, we'll see some clouds start to increase, and then by about 7, 8 o'clock, some isolated to widely scattered showers possible across parts of southeast Kansas ahead of our thunderstorm chances tonight. Temperatures this morning already very warm out there. We're in, most of us, upper 60s, low 70s as we get this day underway, and it will be hot again, upper 80s, and especially the further west you go into southeast Kansas, a lot more low 90-degree readings out there, again with plentiful sunshine. We won't start to see those clouds until later this evening, ahead of those thunderstorm chances for at least some of us. We'll break down details on that and just how much hotter it's going to get in the full forecast here in a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, thanks, Chris. Election years typically heighten the risk of cyber attacks and disinformation campaigns from foreign countries, and this year is no different. But as Fox News' Ted Lindner reports, those looking to meddle are using an interesting tactic to spread lies online.
Intelligence experts are ramping up warnings to political campaigns and government leaders over the increased risk of foreign adversaries trying to spread disinformation online ahead of the November presidential election. An official from the Office of the Director of National Intelligence says Russia, China, Iran, and even Cuba are behind these efforts, with Russia proven to be the #1 threat.
Their effort to spread disinformation about U.S. elections, their invasion of Ukraine.
And new research is showing how these shifty players are able to mislead some people so easily.
On the internet, it pays to be female.
Foreign countries are using chatbots and fake social media accounts that poses women to spread lies and propaganda.
Human beings are more likely to view women as warm and approachable, making it more likely that they view fake accounts as real humans.
And the mind trick is working, with fake female profiles getting more online interaction from real people than accounts with fake male personas.
The human brain remains remarkably easy to hack, thanks to age-old stereotypes about men and women.
While the goal wasn't to spread disinformation, even U.S.-based OpenAI saw the appeal of having a female voice for its programs.
When Hollywood actress Scarlett Johansson declined OpenAI's request to use her voice on one of its newest AI programs, she said the company's CEO told her voice would be, quote, comforting to users. She threatened to sue after the company went with a voice instead that she said was eerily similar to her own.
Ted Lindner, Fox News.
And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. A Texas family is gaining some popularity after their kangaroos made an escape. In Consumer Watch this morning, the Fed concludes its two-day monetary policy with a decision on interest rates. As expected, central bank will be leaving its benchmark interest rate unchanged at 5.25 to 5.5%. It's the Fed's seventh consecutive pause and where rates have been since last July. Fed Chairman Jerome Powell sticking to the message that the current rate is putting enough downward pressure on inflation to slow demand, but needs to be held tighter for longer to cool inflation to the Fed's 2% target.
Our economy has made considerable progress toward both goals over the past 2 years. The labor market has come into better balance with continued strong job gains and a low unemployment rate. Inflation has eased substantially from a peak of 7% to 2.7%, but is still too high. We are strongly committed to returning inflation to our 2% goal in support of a strong economy that benefits everyone. From its anemic pace.
The central bank is projecting just one rate cut this year, down from a previous forecast of 3, likely because inflation remains persistently elevated. Well, travelers who need to renew their passport can now do so online. The State Department says its beta testing its updated online passport renewal program, but it will only be available for a limited number of people daily. The agency says applications to renew will open midday Eastern Time each day and will close once the limit has been reached. Eligible travelers must be 25 years or older with a valid passport that was issued between 2009 and 2015. The agency has not yet revealed how many people can apply for online renewals each day, but officials say the number will likely increase over time. Well, copper thieves are targeting electric vehicle charging cables across the country. The trend is another obstacle for automakers who are trying to convert Americans to EVs. The price of copper wiring on global markets is near an all-time high, luring thieves to target stations. The stolen cables can potentially shut down entire charging stations, causing headaches for EV owners. The Port of Baltimore is now operating at full capacity following March's collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge. And it comes just in time for Fleet Week in the city. As Fox's Caroline Shively reports from Washington, the port plays an important role in the nation's economy.
The Port of Baltimore is back in business, less than 3 months after a nearly 1,000-foot-long cargo ship struck the Key Bridge, killing 6 workers and sending tens of thousands of tons of steel and debris crashing into the Patapsco River.
And many said it would take multiple months for us to get to this point. Some said even up to a year. Well, Marilyn, this team did the unimaginable. We got this thing done in 11 weeks.
The impact has been felt nationwide. Baltimore is the leading port for processing farm equipment, vehicles, construction machinery, and sugar. Last year, it handled 52 million tons of international cargo worth more than $80 billion.
The ships are moving, the terminals are operating, and this great American port is full steam ahead.
Business on the water is open, but the bridge itself remains closed. The rebuild could take until 2028.
It will be challenging to put it up in 4 years because it's going to take about 1 year just to do the design itself before we even start much of the construction.
The estimated cost to rebuild the bridge is almost $2 billion. President Biden says the federal government will foot the bill, but it's up to Congress to make it happen. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
And those are our top consumer stories. Let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
Welcome back to the KOM Morning News, 7:43 on this Thursday. Coming up on 7:44 is a look at our threat for strong storms tonight. No areas highlighted for a tornado risk, which is good, so we'll keep that very low. But we do have a low risk for hail and just a sliver of that elevated risk working in there, and a low to elevated risk for some damaging wind gusts. And that's with this thunderstorm complex that's expected late tonight, probably after midnight. Through most of today, we are sunny, we are hot, upper 80s and some low 90s, especially as you head a little further west. Later this evening, clouds will begin to increase, and we'll see some stray showers out there as we go later into the evening. And then there's those thunderstorms in our far northern counties, and those will be part of a complex that'll sink south, and it'll try and make it to I-44, but it'll fizzle out pretty quickly as we head early into tomorrow morning. But that's going to be our window, let's say between midnight and 4 a.m. for some strong, potentially severe thunderstorms. Future Track still suggesting the possibility, you see these little green spots out there, of some pop-up showers, maybe a pop-up storm or two. I think most of us will be dry. It won't be until Saturday morning that we'll see some isolated showers and thunderstorms possible in our far northern counties. And then once those clear out, we'll have a partly cloudy and hot day for us on our Saturday as well. UV index today is at a 10, which is again very high. Burn time is 10 minutes for unprotected skin, so do make sure you're taking the appropriate precautions out there, and you want to make sure that you're staying hydrated as well, as we have heat advisories for Coffee, Anderson, and Linn counties in Kansas until 8. Those heat index values could reach up to about 100 degrees, and across the area we could still see heat index values low to mid 90s. So this is the heat risk potential. So for today, as you can see, we've got that moderate risk across most of the area and a minor risk south of I-44. As we head into Friday, that moderate risk overspreading much more of the area, and then it completely encompasses us, and we're starting to see major heat risks build in, and that begins to overtake the area as we go into Sunday and Monday out there. So this is where, even though our highs are going to be in the low to mid 90s, we could have heat index values above 100 degrees. So you want to make sure you're prepared for that by Sunday, Monday for sure, as it could get dangerously hot out there over the next few days. Outside in Joplin, clear skies, 70 degrees, south breeze at 3, and this is why those heat index values are going to start to rise. Our dew point's up there. It's been up there for the last couple of days, but the humidity level's been lower, and that's kind of helped balance things. But now the humidity levels are increasing, and that's what's going to lead to those increased heat index values. Still some upper 60s, starting to see a lot more low 70s across the area this morning. As we get the day underway, again, sunny skies, about 83 by 11 o'clock this morning. And again, that's ahead of our highs today into the low 80s and, upper 80s and low 90s. We'll have those storms late tonight and again late Friday night into Saturday. And then maybe some evening storms on Sunday as well. Those temperatures, again, low to mid 90s. We're going to hold on to low to mid 90s for the foreseeable future. And of course, that means our overnight lows are going to be very mild as well in the low to mid 70s. Could see a late storm on Wednesday. Outside of that, we are hot and dry. Let's check your forecast. We're back with more right after this.
Well, most ranches are known to have cows, horses, and other traditional farm animals, but one Texas family decided to add something different.
A Lufkin family is gaining worldwide attention after their pet kangaroos escaped from their enclosure.
At the Lowry home, you'll find chickens, rabbits, tortoises, and even deer on their 160-acre property. But you'll also find something that might seem a little out of place.
People like to raise dogs. We're into raising kangaroos.
Not one, not two, but 15 kangaroos. John Mark Lowry says he and his wife were at an exotic auction, originally there to purchase deer. But his wife had a different plan.
I went to the back to get some concessions and came back, and they informed me that they did indeed buy a kangaroo whenever I was gone.
Jump forward 3 years later. The Lowrys relax in their roux house with a view that looks more like the land from down under instead of East Texas.
They like to hold on to you whenever they're eating.
But one day they received a call no pet owner wants to hear.
She was like, "Hey, I think your kangaroo is out."
Lowry says they were doing some work around the animal's pen. They suspect the gate was left unlatched. 2 kangaroos, seizing the opportunity, made a hop for it.
Red went on a hop about a 10-mile hop about around the neighborhood on a Sunday morning when people were heading to church and getting out and about.
A Lufkin police officer responded to a call regarding the escapees. His dash camera video catching Red on the run.
That's a freaking kangaroo.
Thankfully, Red and Hopper eventually made a safe return home. A scare for their owners, but quite the story for a small community.
Everybody thinks that this isn't Australia, so so this is happening right here in East Texas.
That's certainly something you don't see every day.
No, I mean, that officer had about the right reaction.
Yes.
That'd be about mine, but imagine that. Well, we do have ourselves another very hot day across the area. We also have the chance for some showers and storms tonight. No kangaroos, though, in the forecast. And as we look at the future track, you can see where we've got those showers starting around 8 in southeast Kansas. And then once we get past midnight, say between midnight and 4 a.m., that's going to be our window for strong, potentially severe thunderstorms with hail and wind being the primary concern. We could still, again, see some isolated pop-up showers or storms through the day on our Friday. I think most of us are dry. And then by the time we get into Saturday morning, another round of isolated showers and storms in our northern counties, and then those will clear out. And of course, we've got the dangerous heat. The UV index is quite high out there at a 10. And so you want to make sure that you are taking the appropriate precautions. Don't be outside if you don't have to, because now we're also getting to that point where the heat index values are going to start to rise. And so we actually do have heat advisories for Linn, Coffee, Anderson counties in Kansas until 8 o'clock tonight, where heat index values could easily reach 100 degrees. And for the rest of us, starting to see heat index values low to mid 90s across the area. And those are going to continue to increase as we head into the weekend. So that's why for today, the moderate risk encompasses most of the area, but not all of it. By tomorrow, it's over a much broader region until it encompasses the entire area. And we start seeing the major heat risk potential by Saturday. Heat index values, again, over a broader area starting to reach 100. And as we head into Sunday and Monday, that major risk overspreads the entire area as we can see heat index values over 100 degrees as we kick off next week. So make sure you're staying hydrated and taking the appropriate precautions. We'll have one more look at your forecast and news you need to know right after this.
And here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. A 5-year-old boy is dead following an accident involving a semi-tractor yesterday in a small Jasper County, Missouri community. Police say the truck was parked in a private driveway with the driver standing on the driver's side steps with the engine running. Authorities say the truck was put into gear and jolted forward, striking the 5-year-old boy. The child died at the scene. The Joplin Police Department is putting on a police camp for kids at South Middle School. The entire week is filled with information about the department and demonstrations performed by the officers. Yesterday, students got to engage with the department's SWAT division, and the Kids Police Academy will continue for the rest of the week. A nearly century-old water tower in Neosho, Missouri is now in pieces. The city yesterday began the demolition of the water tower at Dewey and Finney Avenue yesterday morning. The tower was built in 1926 and decommissioned in 1984. City officials now say the old tank is an eyesore and serves no purpose, prompting the demolition.
It's going to be a hot one today, upper 80s, low 90s, sunny skies. So some gusty winds, though, out of the southwest might help a little bit, but heat index values rising as well into the mid 90s out there. Some isolated scattered showers around 8 in southeast Kansas. Then we'll see a thunderstorm complex after midnight, and between midnight and 4 a.m. That's our opportunity for maybe some strong to low grade severe thunderstorms. We'll fall back into the low 70s. See another round of storms tomorrow night into Saturday morning possibly. Temperatures heating up into the low to mid 90s. Heat index values to kick off next week could be in the triple digits. And we'll see another round of some maybe isolated thunderstorms late Wednesday.
All righty.
It's going to be hot.
Absolutely. Well, a sea turtle was rescued by Florida police and firefighters after getting wedged in some rocks at a beach on Monday. The Flagler County Sheriff's Office said they received a report of a turtle in distress and found the very large sea turtle trapped in some of the rocks on the beach.
The police department said they joined forces with a local turtle patrol and the county fire rescue to dislodge the animal and carry it to the surf, quote, where it swam off into the sunrise. I'm sure it was very happy to be out of those rocks and back in the water.
Absolutely. That's a giant guy.
A big turtle.
Yeah.
Very big turtle. You get those Galapagos turtles, too.
Oh, yeah.
Those things get huge. Well, thank you all so much for letting us put the good in your morning. We'll have more news and weather for you today at noon.
Have a great rest of your morning.